Hello everyone, Mark here, Mark's Max Muscle. And when the subject of the 2018 Mr.Olympia pops up, I'm sure few of us think about Big Ramy and Brandon Curry. After all, they placed 5th and 6th, and the big story was, of course, Phil Heath lost his title to Sean Roden. And Rolly Winkler captured 3rd, and in doing so, he earned the People's Choice Award, or the People's Champion Award, not the People's Choice, I apologize. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this was a big story for Big Ramy and Brandon Curry for that matter. Brandon Curry, he actually placed ahead of Big Ramy here for the first time. Thus far, Big Ramy has placed quite a distance away from Brandon Curry. And this was quite puzzling to me as I was looking at their two versions in the 2018, because at first glance, I don't understand how Brandon Curry could have defeated Big Ramy Mamdouh Elssbiay. I mean, granted, of course, Brandon has a much smaller waist and he has that V-taper for sure, but he lacks leg development, guys, and Big Ramy has that in spades. Not only that, but Brandon Curry, look at those tiny little wee calves, and that's usually a weak point for Big Ramy, but total leg development here goes to Big Ramy. But like I said, that waistline, the physique itself, and the arms look pretty darn good on Brandon Curry as well. But that size, does that not mean anything to the judges anymore? The front lat spread, and this is a walk-away pose for Big Ramy, and I'm sure if the judges did give Big Ramy this one, you guys would be all for rooting him along in all of these poses. After all, most of you guys tend to side with the judges just because it makes sense. You'll often look for points that really aren't there, because really, guys, there's just no way Brandon Curry is touching Big Ramy in this pose. Here is a different version. I would have liked to have every pose, the two different versions. This is, I believe, from their posing routines, or perhaps the next day. I'm not exactly sure, not exactly certain. But either way, this is better for Big Ramy here. He looks drier here. And you can definitely see those calves drawn out. And I get criticized for looking at the calves. Go back to the 70s, 80s, 90s. I'm telling you right now, all the guys had good calves. And it makes sense. It's the beginning. It's the first muscle you should look at, and then build up. And Big Ramy has this one with ease. Let's go to the side, turn to the side here. And I have to say, Brandon Curry's display in the upper body is much better. He lacks delt development, I think. The outer delt, it sort of swoops in like a Ronnie Coleman. But on the other side of the token, you have Big Ramy, and his almost a little bit too pointy, much like a Flex Wheeler. But either way, this is not Big Ronnie versus Flex Wheeler. This is Big Ramy versus Brandon Curry. And it is close, guys, that lag development of... Oh, here's the other one here. And I have to say, Big Ramy looks better in this album here. He looks much drier. Brandon Curry looks pretty good, though. Ramy winning in total lag development. Again, glutes, quads, hamstrings, and calves for sure. This time, the pecs maybe an advantage for Big Ramy as well. Here's the side tricep development, and I have to say that midsection of Big Ramy, it's not the best. It's probably going to cost him a victory here, because when you individualize the triceps themselves, neither guy is what you would call home to mother about and, you know, get her to Google. Oh, Google Brandon Curry's tricep, Mom. You know what I mean? My mother would probably just scratch her head and wouldn't know what I was talking about. But either way, guys, this is probably a Brandon Curry pose. And I know I'm rooting here for Big Ramy, but I cannot go against Brandon Curry if he's actually winning the pose. That midsection alone, it does get him a victory, even though he is losing in the lag department, guys. Every shot, every pose so far. And the almighty back department, the back development, will tell us the tale and will give us a glimpse on who should have won this one. Brandon Curry has pretty thin skin, I will say. Good prominent lower lat insertions and huge traps. But Big Ramy is just that. Big. He opens that lat spread up, and he's eating Brandon Curry up. And even if that wasn't the case, look downstairs, guys. Look downstairs. The judges must not look at the glutes, the hamstrings, the calves anymore. Like I said, though, Brandon Curry pretty dry in the hamstrings, but nothing doing. Look at those glutes on Big Ramy. Here is the other one here, and like I said, guys, this is a much, much better shot for Big Ramy in this other album, and a worse one for Brandon Curry. He looks a little softer in the lower back, but he does have them lower lat insertions, does Curry, so, he's a decent back development. But then you look at the calves, those little dandelion spores, just unbelievable. This is a Big Ramy shot, for sure. Rear double bicep, and I have to say, Brandon Curry, if you look close, he does have some thin skin there, vascularity all over that back. But Big Ramy, maybe a little flatter, I think, when you look at the lat insertions, but so huge. Look at the delts. Traps are big for Brandon Curry as well, probably bigger than Big Ramy's. So he is doing better in this matchup than the rear lat spread. But again, guys, look downstairs. Here's the other album, and much softer for Brandon Curry in the back development this time. I think Big Ramy is on another level altogether. And like I said, if the judges give this one to Big Ramy, we would be having a completely different argument, a different discussion altogether. You guys would look at this and say, oh, the judges give it to Big Ramy because he's bigger, he's better. Of course. And need I mention the calves? This is a total victory. This is a rip-off for Big Ramy. The ab and thigh, now I'll be inclined to give this one to Brandon Curry because his waistline so much smaller. Look at the aesthetics in this pose, the flow, much better. Big Ramy looks like he's being held at gunpoint, being forced to hit this pose. And I have seen him hit decent ab and thighs. The ab development, much more deeply thick cut abs than Brandon Curry does Big Ramy. Brandon Curry's abs are kind of like straight folds going across. There's no real mid separation. But having said that, guys, I'm not a Brandon Curry hater. I'm a hater of bad decisions. And we are at the final pose, and I have not changed my mind at all in any of the shots. These are all Big Ramy, Mamdouh Elssbiay poses. And I hope Big Ramy sees this video and realizes that he was ripped off here. He should have placed higher. They were grooming Brandon Curry to pull off the win the very next year. And here's the hands clasped from the different version or the different album. And this is an even worse ripoff for this album because Brandon's worse and Ramy is better, drier. I don't know if he's bigger than the other album, but he's drier, like I said. Just altogether better, guys. So if you want to put your little fuss up and say Brandon Curry should have won this one, I hope you have a good explanation as to why. Because Big Ramy, Mamdouh Elssbiay, is your clear winner in this comparison. And food for thought here, guys. And this is very interesting. I looked for side-by-side comparisons between these two from this event, and they put them at the bookends. They didn't even want to have them close to each other. It's like they knew they were going to groom Brandon Curry for the win for the next year or something. And where was Mamdouh in 2019? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this rip-off of a comparison. Hit thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram. Have a great day.